Having a sense of entitlement. Please open with me to Matthew chapter 20. Matthew chapter 20, the Amplified Bible, but just from verse 10 to verse 15. Amplified Bible Classic Edition. It says, when the first batch came, they supposed that they would get more. But each of them also received a denarius. And when they received it, they grumbled at the owner of the estate, saying, these men who came last worked no more than an hour. And yet you have made them rank with us who have borne the burden and the scorching heat of the day. But he answered one of them, friend, I am doing you no injustice. Did you not agree with me for a dinar? Take what belongs to you and go. I choose to give to this man hired last the same as I give to you. Am I not permitted to do what I choose with what is mine? Or do you begrudge my being generous? Is your eye evil because I am good? Now in Proverbs chapter 29 verse 21, Amplified Bible Classic Edition, it says, he who pampers his servant from childhood, have him expecting the rights of a son afterward. What does sense of entitlement really mean? It's a personality trait that is based on a person's belief that he or she deserves privileges or recognition for things they did not earn. In simple terms, people experiencing this kind of mentality believe that the world owes them something in exchange for nothing. A sense of entitlement is also defined as an unrealistic, unmerited, or inappropriate expectation of favorable living conditions and favorable treatment at the hands of others. And you know, this starts from the home front. It starts from the family cycle. Then it goes into the realm of relationships, close friends. And then it extends to wherever you operate on a regular basis, your workplace, school. And then it also applies to expectations from whoever is those who are in leadership in government in that territory. An entitlement is the right of a particular privilege to a particular privilege or benefit granted by law or custom. Something that you have a right to do or have. But a sense of entitlement is where we are taking a deeper look at today. And now, talking about sense of entitlement or entitlement mentality, there is a healthy dimension of it. There's a healthy dimension of having a sense of entitlement. Our youths they are entitled to leadership. And so, youth inclusion in governance, it's supposed to be one of the major agendas of any of the political parties that wants the votes of Nigerian youths. Women also have a right and are entitled to leadership. And so women inclusion in governance in the nation is also supposed to be one of the major offers from every major political party to the women in the nation. In our individual relationships, we are entitled to certain things. Faithfulness, honesty, love, care, support. And especially in relationships like marriage. So when you have expectations in any of these dimensions, it's a good expectation. When you have expectations, however, in some other manifestations, some other realms, which we are going to take a look at now, then it becomes unhealthy. For instance, when a woman goes into a relationship with a primary goal of getting money from the man, that is a wrong motive and a wrong expectation. And we see that happening more than ever before. A sense of entitlement is a personality characteristics based on the belief that someone deserves special treatment or recognition for something they did not earn. And even if they have, in some locations, they still want to enjoy the privileges that their achievements had brought them. In their location, they want to still enjoy it everywhere, and this doesn't apply in all circumstances. So people with this mindset believe that the world owes them. Your family owes you. Your brothers, your sister, they owe you something. Your friends, they owe you, especially your friends that are doing well. People with this mindset believe that they owe them something, and sometimes something very big. It's also the feeling that you have a right to do what you want without having to work for it or deserve it. You're also having a right to get what you want, have what you want without having to work for it or deserve it, just because of who you are. The entitlement mentality. Having extreme self-confidence or believe that everything that happens should somehow benefit them. And we'll begin to see that, of course, when this is a manifestation, the desire for these privileges would make such persons arrogant. And that is why people with the entitlement mentality, they easily have issues in relationships. They easily have issues in relationships, even with their siblings. And of course, in a marriage situation. In the church, even in the church of God, the household of God, people with the entitlement mentality would also cause a lot of tension. Now, you could see some interesting insights from the story our Lord Jesus Christ shared in Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 to 15. This man got out early in the morning by 6 a.m. and got some workers mobilized to go and work in his field. And they agreed that each of them, at the end of the day, which was going to be 6 p.m., working hours, 6 p.m., they'll be paid 1 silver coin. Now they went to work, having agreed that they will be paid 1 silver coin. And they were happy with it. And they were satisfied with it. And in fact, that was the going rate for a day's wage at that time in that environment. Now, later on, this same man went out by 12 noon. Oh, no, the second one was 9 a.m. And they went out by 9 a.m. and also found more workers on the street there. And then he said, ask them, would you like to work? Now, you would notice something changed. When he approached the second batch of workers, he did not promise them the same thing he agreed with the first batch of workers. They agreed that he will pay them what the number of hours they would work is what, and certainly not for the whole day. Then he came back again by 12 noon and still found some workers there. So he also recruited them and agreed to pay them something at the end of the day. Then 5 p.m., 5 p.m., just 1 hour to closing time, he went again to the street and still found a few. And he got them, would you want to walk? And they said, yes, they've been out waiting. So, okay, go ahead, go and walk in my vineyard. I will just pay you whatever I feel like. And they agreed. But he didn't promise anything. The only batch of workers out of the 4 groups that had something specifically promised and agreed with them was the first batch. Now, when it was time to pay them, by 6 p.m., he instructed his field supervisor to pay all of them 1 silver coin each. All of them, including the second batch that started work by 9 a.m., the third batch that started work by 12 noon, and then the last batch that started work by 5 p.m. and worked for only 1 hour. So you can then understand where the rumblings and the grumblings and the complaints and the protests from the first batch of workers, was going to obviously play out. So when the first batch of workers observed, and of course the man instructed that those who came last, the 5 p.m. batch, should be paid first. So as they observed that those workers were being paid 1 silver coin each, in their hearts, without the man telling them anything, in their hearts, they calculated. Somebody say calculated. They calculated that they are certainly going to get something much higher than what they had earlier agreed they will receive, without the man telling them. And so the second batch came forward, they were paid the same thing, the third batch. So when they stepped forward, the Bible says they were expecting. You see, this is where the problem comes. This is where the problem comes. From time to time, as we'll move forward in life, we can fall into the temptation of having some high expectations, which were never promised to us. Based simply on our assumptions. Based simply on assumptions. There was never a time the owner of the field told them, I would increase what I'm going to give you from 1 silver coin to something higher. But they just concluded that it was going to be much higher than the silver coin. Why? Because they saw a batch of workers that came and worked for just 1 hour receive what was promised to them to work for a whole day. So the moment they were paid just 1 silver coin, they became angry. They became angry. They complained. They grumbled. They protested. Different versions of the Bible will explain their reaction. And then they started making some remark at how come they are paying them just 1 silver coin when this last batch of workers that work for 1 hour have been paid the same, and they have worked all day, and then they try to give special expression to the magnitude of work they had done, that under the heat of the sun all day they worked. But that wasn't going to be a ground for them to be entitled. Now, what we need to note here is that they were not entitled. They were not entitled to anything higher or above a silver coin. But they were, strongly convinced that they would be paid something higher. To the point where when they were now paid what was officially agreed, they became angry. So naturally, we can fall into this temptation from time to time. We can fall into this temptation from time to time. And we have seen people become depressed, people become upset, relationships break up, friends part ways. Why? Because of hidden expectations that were not met. What are the signs of a sense of entitlement? Number one, people with a sense of entitlement, they think they deserve special treatment. They assert a sense of superiority over others on predefined biases that they have set. They expect to get preferential treatment and special favors in life. And this is without regard for, any justifiable reason why they should be so treated. Number two, people with the entitlement mentality, they feel that they deserve more than what they have in life. They always, not sometimes, feel that they deserve more than what they have in life. Irrespective of whatever they have at any point in time, they always believe that they deserve more. And they expect to elevate their lifestyle above that of others without putting in the effort needed to do so. When we shared on universal laws some weeks back, now the law of compensation is what comes in here. Because the law of compensation makes us understand that in this life, what you sow and the quality and quantity of whatever you sow is what positions you to receive a harvest in return. And even God will tell us that he is not mocked. That is, whatever a man sows, that he will reap. Then in Luke chapter 6 verse 38, we are told that if we give, it shall be given back unto us. Good measure, pressed down, shaken over. And that with the same measure that we use in giving, will it be measured back to us. In 2 Corinthians, we are also told that he that sows sparingly shall reap sparingly, and he that sows bountifully shall also reap bountifully. And these principles apply to different realms of life, not only money and finances. Number three, their personal needs come before everyone else's needs. Their personal needs always come first. They are self-serving. They are self-serving, and we do whatever it takes to get what they want, even if that means at the expense of others. That is a mindset of someone with a sense of entitlement. They always believe that their needs and wants are more important than others. And they believe those such needs must be met, even at the expense of other people's needs and wants. And this applies to husband and wife. It applies to close relationships such as that with siblings, with parents. Because even when there is an obligation, there's a responsibility in some relationships to do certain things for you. However, you are not expected to be the one to determine the quality and the quantity of what will be given to you, except you have paid the price. That makes it so clear that nothing but that magnitude of quality and quantity should be given to you in return, especially when it's available. Number four, people People with a sense of entitlement are not grateful for what they have in life. People with a sense of entitlement are not grateful for what they have in their life. They are not grateful. So someone with a sense of entitlement may not say thank you or show other signs of appreciation for what they have. So people with a sense of entitlement see a lot of things that are done for them or given to them as a right. And number 5, they have a sense of entitlement about money, possessions, or friends. How can you feel, someone made a quote, he said, how can you feel entitled to someone's money? How can you feel entitled to someone else's money? But that's the reality in the hearts of many people. So it's a common thing for them to set unrealistic expectations on people they know. And they easily take friends for granted instead of being appreciative. So when favors are done for them by friends, they see it as a right. They see it as an entitlement. And they are not really appreciative of it. Number 6, they easily blame other people or outside forces for their problems. They easily blame other people or outside forces for their problem. Most times they just take a journey in life always thinking they are right, and everybody that disagrees with them is wrong. And this is one of the reasons why people with this mentality, a lot of them hardly change. They hardly change in the process of time, because they always assume they are right and the people who don't agree with them are wrong. Number 7, and that's the last one, they constantly need praise and admiration from people. Attention is a must. Recognition is a must. They love attention, and they go out of their way to insist on being given attention or recognition.